Lesson number 4, we're going to spend a little more time on that one. So lesson number 4 is remember why you long to fly. So this is about those times when you have a total breakdown and you just want to throw in the towel. So I'm on one lesson where I have done a remarkably pathetic attempt at landing an airplane and putting it on solid ground. And I am so embarrassed because Cleo has had to grab the controls away from me and save the day. So it's humiliating once again, and I'm crying once again, and finally I just take the glasses off and just let the tears fly and give her my routine again about how I never make a pilot. And so she gave me 2 pieces of advice, which she gave to me every time I had one of these mini breakdowns. And so you might think about whether when you get really challenged by your challenge and really want to give up, whether these 2 pieces of advice might fit for you. So one of them is, go home and read your logbook. See how far you've come. So I go home and I read my logbook and it says, lesson number 1, learning how to taxi. And I remember how I was taxiing like a drunk down the runway the first time when I couldn't coordinate the rudder pedals. And saw that I have come a long way, actually. I've come a long, long way. So you might go home and read your logbook, read your journal, look at your calendar, think about how far you've come. And the second piece of advice was, I think you need to remember why you wanted to fly in the first place, she says. So the next time we go out and fly, we're just going to go on a beauty flight. That is, we're going to get in the plane, and you're going to tell me where you want to go, and we're going to go someplace that makes you happy that you're flying. Where do you want to go? So I live beneath the Catalina Mountains outside Tucson, and so I said, let's go up in the mountains. Mountain flying is a little challenging, so I was a little scared, a little excited. And we go up there, and she's saying, oh, you can go a little closer to that peak. And I'm really thrilled, and I realize that I have the privilege of looking down on the earth like an eagle and seeing the view of the earth that until recently humans could not see except in their imaginations. And I feel this enormous sense of privilege wash over me, and a little shame that here I am, this privileged female who is learning how to fly an airplane, and I am whining. I am doing neurotic whining here. And I look down, it's springtime, and we look out, and there are carpets of yellow poppies all over the high desert around Tucson. And it makes me think of Amelia Earhart's quote, "You haven't seen a tree until you've seen its shadow from the sky." It just took my breath away. And so you might try a beauty flight. What is it that inspires you? What is it that makes you fall in love with your life again? What is it that makes you take that big, deep breath, that big sip of cool water? What's juicy for you? That's what it's all about. And what makes you accept your life? So I'll tell you one other story. May cry. So this is my father's flaying scarf that he gave to my grandmother before he died. And now I'm going to tell you about a flight where I'm not the pilot. John and I are on a United Airlines flight to Europe, and it's only been 2 weeks since I was diagnosed with cancer, and 2 weeks since the lumpectomy that wasn't enough. 2 weeks since the surgeon said to me, your mother and grandmother both died of this disease, and this looks like an aggressive cancer to us. And so I suggest that you think about whether it's going to be a single or double mastectomy. And I kind of think you should consider the double. So I feel like I've been shot. And he says, go on your trip to Europe because you've got to heal anyway before you have more surgery. And it'll give you perspective. So this trip was important because it wasn't just a pure pleasure trip. I had been doing all this research on my biological father. My own parents had died fairly early, And so I wanted to find out more about who I was, the part of me that I didn't know about. So we were going to Europe to visit his grave and the places where he was stationed. And so we're standing in Ardennes, fast forward to Ardennes Military Cemetery, and we're standing at his grave, and a man in a uniform has walked out there with us and taken a little brush out of the case and brushed off the headstone and put a little American flag next to the grave. And I'm standing there and saying silently, "Oh, Daddy, this is pretty ironic, because you died at 27, and so I guess you're my expert on early death, and I may not live that long. So I wish so much that you were here to talk to me about death." And almost as certainly as if I could hear him with my physical ears, I thought I heard, "Oh, honey, I don't think it's about facing your death. I think it's about facing your life." So I invite you to think about your challenge and think about whether, like me, you can hold both that which makes you joyous and that which challenges you, that which is hard, that which is unexpected, and whether the life you love can include all those things that are so difficult. And if you say yes to your life, I promise that the issue will feel different.